In the glittering high-rise towers of Victoria Island, where money spoke louder than morals and men were measured by the size of their bank accounts, lived Chief Obinna Okonkwo, a man who had everything. Private jets, yachts docked in Banana Island, a mansion that could swallow a village. And power? He had it in his sleep. To the world, Chief Obinna was the king of Lagos. His name opened doors, caused traffic to stop, and silenced even the proud. No business deal was too big for him. No politician dared cross him. He was the man who built an empire from nothing, or so he made people believe. But behind the tinted glasses, the designer agbadas, and the forced smiles of Lagos elite parties, Obinna was empty. His money bought everything except peace, except meaning, except truth. He believed he had finally secured his legacy with a Billionaire expansion project that would change the skyline of Lagos forever. But what he didn't know was that this was only the beginning of an encounter with a poor lady named Amaka, who will become both his karma and his redemption. Before we dive in, please subscribe, follow, like, share, and comment to encourage us to keep bringing you captivating stories that will grip you from beginning till end. Now, let's dive into how it all started. Chief Obinna Okonkwo was standing on the balcony of his 15-bedroom mansion in Banana Island, sipping aged cognac in a diamond-cut glass. Below him, his fountain danced to the rhythm of soft jazz playing in the garden. It was 6 a.m., but his day had already begun. His PA, Chioma, had sent his schedule to his smartwatch. A meeting with Chinese investors, a virtual call with the governor, and a late lunch with the Minister of Housing. He was launching a new housing estate, Obinna Heights, in Lekki. It was going to be a luxury smart estate for only the richest in Nigeria. 70% of the units were already sold off-plan, even before the first brick had been laid. As he finished his drink, his driver drove up in a custom 2025 Rolls-Royce Phantom. Obinna smirked. "Lagos is mine," he whispered. In the slums of Ajegunle, life was the complete opposite. Amaka, a 24-year-old hawker with bright eyes and a stubborn spirit, moved through the traffic, selling pure water under the scorching Lagos sun. She had graduated with a first class in civil engineering from Unilag, but no job had come. No opportunity. Just empty promises. She lived in a one-room apartment with her sick mother, little brother, and leaking roof. Every day, she prayed, cried, hustled, and hoped. Little did she know her life was about to collide with Chief Obinna's. Obinna's estate project was running into issues. The land had complications. Residents of the swampy area refused to vacate. His survey team returned with problems he didn't want to hear. "There's one girl, sir," Chioma reported. "She's stirring the locals. She says we're building on ancestral land." Obinna laughed. "A girl? From where?" "She's an engineer, sir. First class. No job. But the people listen to her." Obinna waved it off. "Offer her money. Everyone has a price." That evening, Amaka received a visit from one of Obinna's men. A brown envelope. N2 million. She rejected it. "Tell your boss this land is not for sale. Not everything is about money." Obinna was furious. How dare nobody reject him? He ordered the demolition of the swamp zone at night, using bulldozers with police escort. By morning, homes were crushed. Amaka rushed back from the market to find her house flattened, her mother coughing violently from the dust, her brother crying. The next morning, TV stations carried the headline, "Luxury Estate Developer Destroys Homes of Hundreds." Obinna's PR team went into overdrive, but the damage had been done. And Amaka? She wasn't done yet. By dawn, videos of the demolition were everywhere. Twitter was boiling. Instagram was burning. TikTok was trending with hashtags. Hashtag Obinna the Destroyer. Hashtag Lagos Land Wahala. Hashtag Justice for Ajegunle. And at the center of it all, Amaka. A video of her screaming at the demolition site had gone viral. "They took everything from us. Our homes, our peace, they think, because we're poor, we don't matter. But we do. We matter." In less than 24 hours, she became the face of resistance. Obinna watched it on his plasma screen, furious. "She's becoming a problem," he muttered. "Should we silence her, sir?" his security chief asked. Obinna hesitated, then shook his head. "Not yet." The next week, Amaka was invited to a radio show. then a podcast, then Channels TV. She became a sensation. Even NGOs began to reach out. Still, life in Ajegunle didn't improve. Her family was still sleeping in a church hall. Then, Obinna called her. Yes, the Obinna. He offered to fly her to a private island in Ape to talk. Face to face, he said. Let's settle this like adults. Everyone begged her not to go. He's dangerous. You'll disappear. But Amaka went. Why? Because poor people don't get invitations to private islands. And this time, she needed to look him in the eyes. The meeting was not what she expected. Obinna didn't try to bribe her. Not this time. Instead, he spoke. About how he once lived in a one-room face me I face you in Mushin. About how he fought his way up. You think you're the only one who suffered? I paid for my first WAC with my father's burial contribution money. Amaka was silent. I want to help your people, he said. But I can't do that if you keep fighting me publicly. She looked at him and asked, Then why destroy their homes? He had no answer. That silence said everything. The media got wind of the meeting. Rumors flew. Amaka has been bought. She's now flying private jets with the enemy. She's eaten the forbidden fruit. Suddenly, the girl who was once their hero became the traitor. Even her own people began to whisper. You see him? Everybody get price. She goes soon by jeep. But Amaka wasn't moved, because she had discovered something worse than poverty. Power without conscience. And for the first time, she saw that Obinna was not a monster. He was a broken man pretending to be invincible. That was the day she made a vow. I'll change the system from inside, even if they hate me. A week later, Amaka received an anonymous email. Subject: What Chief Obinna did to the Makoko Children Fund. Attached was a folder. Scanned documents. Transaction receipts. Voice notes. All pointing to the fact that years ago, Obinna had diverted funds meant for a children's school in Makoko and used it to build his first luxury apartment in Ikoyi. She was shocked, and now torn. If she exposed this, it would destroy him, maybe even land him in jail. But if she kept it secret, she'd be betraying the people who trusted her. She stared at her laptop screen for hours, heart pounding. Then she clicked download. The next morning, a headline appeared on Linda Ikeji's blog. Exclusive. Obinna Okonkwo allegedly stole 200 million Nigerian nairas from Makoko Children's School project. It went viral within an hour. Obinna's phones didn't stop ringing. His PR team was confused. His lawyer was panicking. Sir, this is very bad. The FCC might get involved. Amaka didn't reveal she was the source, but Obinna knew. And strangely, he didn't come after her. Instead, he went silent. Meanwhile, social media exploded with memes, hashtags, and videos of the abandoned Makoko school building. And for the first time in his career, Chief Obinna was publicly shamed. 2 days after the scandal broke, Amaka's mother died. She had been sick for months, but the stress of eviction and the recent spotlight had broken her body. The funeral was held quietly in a local church. No fanfare, no camera, just pain. Just as Amaka was healing, something strange happened. She got an official letter from the Lagos State Governor's office. The invitation read, Young Voices in Housing and Infrastructure. Obinna was also scheduled to attend. It wasn't just a public event, it would be televised. The same man whose scandal she leaked was going to share a stage with her. The people of Ajegunle were watching. Her enemies were waiting. She had two choices: refuse and look weak, or go and face him head on. She ironed her best blouse and made a choice. The Lagos State Housing Summit was held at the iconic Eco Convention Center. Security was tight. Press lined the red carpet. Influencers streamed live. Obinna arrived in a navy blue agbada, escorted by bodyguards. He smiled for the cameras like nothing had happened. Then Amaka entered. The whole room tensed. Cameras zoomed in. People whispered. Memes were already forming. The governor gave his speech, and then called them both to the stage. They sat side by side, 2 worlds, 2 stories, 1 scandal between them. Let's start with you, Miss Amaka, the moderator said. What does justice look like to you? She turned to Obinna, held the mic, and said, Justice is not just about apologies. It's about repair. The crowd went wild. Obinna's face remained stone. After the summit, Obinna reached out to her again. They met secretly at a rooftop restaurant in Victoria Island. I underestimated you, he said, sipping champagne. But you've made enemies. Serious ones. She wasn't moved. I didn't come this far to be scared. Then he handed her an envelope. An offer, 100 million naira and full ownership of a radio station. The catch? She must leave activism. No interviews. No public appearances. Silence. She stared at the envelope, then pushed it back. You really don't understand poor people, she said. We're not all for sale. She walked out and didn't look back. Days later, Amaka's brother was arrested. Reason? Suspected cybercrime. It was a lie, of course, but the message was clear. Amaka rushed to the police station. The officers refused to release him. She posted the story online. Within hours, it went viral. Hashtag free Chuka. Hashtag billionaire bullying. Hashtag justice for Ajegunle. Obinna pretended he had nothing to do with it. But his enemies? They saw it as weakness. In a hidden boardroom in Banana Island, a secret meeting was held. A new plan was born. One of Obinna's own executives was ready to betray him, and Amaka was the key. His name was Benson Odiu, Obinna's former right-hand man. He contacted Amaka. They met in a parked car at night in Surulere. I have the documents that will destroy him, Benson said. All I need is a public figure to leak it. Someone the people still believe in. Amaka was torn. This time, it wasn't just one fraud. It was everything. Offshore accounts, money laundering, illegal land grabs, even bribery receipts from government officials. It would ruin Obinna permanently, but it would also shake Lagos to its core. Are you ready to start a war? Benson asked. Amaka looked out the window, then nodded. It began with a tweet. At Amaka for change. The same man who stole from Makoko also owns 8 illegal plots in Banana Island. We have the receipts. The people will decide. Then came the files. Dozens of PDFs, bank statements, voice notes, signed contracts. Within 24 hours, every blog, Instagram page, and news channel in Lagos was talking about hashtag Banana Island scam. Obinna's companies lost 1.2 billion naira in stock value overnight. The FCC launched an investigation. His business partners began distancing themselves. The lion had been wounded, but lions don't die quietly. Obinna woke up to silence in his Ikoyi mansion. His phone was off. His assistant was gone. Even his chef didn't show up. He stepped out of his room and found his wife standing at the staircase, holding her phone. You used my name to buy land illegally, she asked, her voice cold. She showed him a document. He didn't deny it. Everything I did was for us, he said. No, you did it for you. I just followed. She walked out with their child and didn't look back. He was alone. For the first time in 20 years, Obinna struck back. Late that night, Amaka's NGO office was raided by unknown men. Files were destroyed. Hard drives stolen. One staff injured. But Amaka expected this. She had already backed up everything in the cloud. The next morning, she went live on Instagram. They think breaking things will stop truth. But truth doesn't die. It multiplies. Her following jumped from 50K to 1.2 million in 72 hours. And then, CNN Africa called. They wanted her on an international documentary called Voices of Resistance. She said yes. Benson, Obinna's former executive and Amaka's secret source, went missing. 2 days later, his body was found in a swamp in Lekki. The police ruled it a robbery gone wrong. But Amaka knew the truth. Obinna had started playing dirty. She was next on the list. So she did the unthinkable. She leaked Obinna's personal voice memo, where he confessed to bribing 2 top politicians to block housing reforms. The voice was unmistakably his. It trended for 5 straight days. Politicians began to fall, and so did Obinna. This wasn't just scandal anymore. It was revolution. Protests broke out across the city. From Yaba to Surulere, from Ojalegba to Aja, people flooded the streets with placards, whistles, and megaphones. Justice for the slums. Land for the people. Lock him up. They wore shirts with Amaka's face printed like a freedom fighter. Even musicians joined in. One viral song carried the chorus. Banana Island Thief. Come confess O/ before Lagos go vex O. Obinna watched it all on TV from his house, once filled with art and elegance, now covered in dust and silence. The world had turned on him, and he couldn't stop it. That evening, Amaka received a warning call. Get out of your house. Now. No name. Just a voice. Familiar. She grabbed her laptop, her flash drives, and one backpack. But before she could leave the compound, 3 black SUVs pulled up outside. Men in black got out. She ran to the back, scaled the fence, bruising her palm, landing in someone else's compound. A baby cried from inside. A woman screamed. A generator hummed. She kept running, through alleyways, over drains, into darkness. She slept that night in a container shop in Oral, hidden behind old tires and scraps of zinc. For the first time in months, she was afraid. Meanwhile, in a quiet hospital in Ikoyi, a frail old man watched the protest from a small TV. His name, Chief Emeka Mofdamaho, Obinna's estranged father. They hadn't spoken in 11 years. But Chief Emeka had one thing no one else had. The original will. The land Obinna used to build the Banana Island estates. It was stolen from displaced families, his own mother's people. The documents proving this were hidden in the family's old estate. If released, Obinna wouldn't just be disgraced. He'd be imprisoned for decades. The old man picked up his Nokia phone. He dialed a number he hadn't called in years. Obinna, it's time. Obinna met his father in the hospital. They sat in silence for 5 long minutes. Then Chief Emeka opened a briefcase and placed the will on the table. I warned you, the old man said, but you were too hungry. Obinna didn't argue. He looked tired. I built an empire, he whispered. You built a prison, his father replied. And now the door is closing. The chief reached into his drawer and pulled out a letter. It was a statement of full confession. Names, dates, properties. You have 48 hours to release this yourself, or I will, the old man said. Obinna took the paper and walked out, shoulders heavy like a man dragging his own coffin. Obinna knew his time was almost up. With the documents in his father's hand and the protest not dying down, he needed to buy time. So, he made one final move. He put a 20 million Nigerian nairas bounty on Amaka's head. The instruction was clear. Bring her to me alive. I want to look her in the eye. Within hours, bounty hunters, street boys, even some corrupt officers joined the search. Amaka, still hiding in Oral, heard the news from a small radio. But she didn't panic. She called someone she swore she'd never speak to again. Hi, it's me. I need your help. I can't trust anyone else. The voice on the other end said only 2 words. Where are you? The next morning, Amaka was inside a quiet compound in Lekki. The person who had helped her? Chaik, her ex. A brilliant documentary filmmaker she had left 3 years ago for being too radical. He was still the same, righteous, rough, dangerous. He had been filming the protests secretly. He knew all the hiding places, all the back doors. Obinna's not your biggest enemy, Chaik said. Amaka frowned. What do you mean? There's someone else funding his moves, protecting him from behind. That's why every time you attack, he survives. Amaka stared at him. Who? She asked. Chaik pulled out a laptop and opened a file titled Folashade, Minister of Housing, Lagos State. Amaka gasped. It was her own former boss. The plan was wild. Amaka and Chaik would go live on national television during a town hall meeting, broadcast live across the country. They had collected enough proof, videos, and hidden recordings to bring down both Obinna and Folashade. But there was one problem. The live show was being hosted by Folashade herself. She had invited Amaka weeks ago, hoping to mock her on live TV. But now, the stage would be hers. Are you sure you want to do this? Chaik asked her. They tried to kill me, she replied. They killed Benson. They almost buried the truth. I'm not backing down. He looked at her for a moment, then nodded. I'll be watching from the van. We'll stream it all. The war was no longer hidden. The studio lights came on. Millions of Nigerians were watching from their TVs, phones, and office computers. Folashade smiled confidently. She was in her political gown, makeup perfect. And joining us today is the brave Miss Amaka, NGO founder and self-proclaimed activist. Welcome, she said with fake sweetness. Thank you, Ma, Amaka replied calmly. 10 minutes into the interview, Folashade tried to corner her. You've made a lot of noise. But where's the proof? She asked, smirking. Amaka reached into her bag, pulled out a flash drive, held it up. This is the proof. And it's already live. Chike pressed the button from the van. Suddenly, the live feed split-screened. On one side, the TV show. On the other side, a hidden camera recording of Folashade and Obinna sharing bribe money in a private hotel suite. Folashade's face changed. Then the studio lost power. Blackout. But it was too late. The clip had already spread. The clip of Folashade and Obinna went viral in minutes. Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, WhatsApp. Even Alaba boys were selling it on CDs by afternoon. Hashtags exploded. Hashtag justice for the slums. Hashtag Folashade must go. Hashtag Banana Island blood money. The government, under heavy pressure, acted swiftly. Folashade was arrested by EFCC at 6:45 p.m. that same day. She screamed and kicked as officers dragged her out of her home in Magodo. I built Lagos. I fed the state. I fed all of you, she shouted. But no one listened. She was gone. And everyone turned to the next target, Obinna Okonkwo. Obinna had vanished. Not a word. Not a trace. The press camped outside his Banana Island mansion, but all they saw was dust and locked gates. Some said he flew to Dubai. Others claimed he was hiding in a church in Ibadan. But Amaka knew better. She told Chike he's still here. Obinna doesn't run. He hides until he finds a way to win again. She was right. That night, Obinna called an emergency meeting with his lawyer, one corrupt senator, and a former army general. I need immunity, he said. The senator replied, then you need to give them blood. What kind of blood? Obinna asked. Yours. You need to fake your own death and disappear from the scenes forever, the senator said. Inside a hotel room in Ikoyi, Obinna sat alone, unshaven, shirtless, unread emails, 43 missed calls. He looked at the mirror in front of him. He saw a man he didn't recognize. He touched his own face, slowly. He remembered how it all started, just a hungry boy from Nsukka who wanted better. He remembered sleeping under a bridge. He remembered his first client. He remembered his mother's prayers. Then he remembered the day he sold his first lie. That lie bought his first car. That car brought his first contract. That contract birthed this monster. He stood up, wore a black kaftan, picked up the confession letter his father had given him, and walked out of the room. Obinna walked into the press hall at the Lagos State Assembly Complex, uninvited. His presence alone caused chaos. Cameras clicked. Journalists screamed questions. He stepped up to the microphone, held the letter in one hand. He looked empty, not defeated, just tired. I came here to tell the truth, he began. I stole. I manipulated. I used people. I thought I was building something great, but I became the very thing I hated as a boy. He paused, swallowed. I'm ready to face the law. And I begged the city for one thing. Not forgiveness, but healing. Then he walked off, no security, no applause. Just stunned silence. A billionaire had surrendered. Amaka sat at a cafe in Lekki when her phone buzzed. It was a call from the governor of Lagos State. Miss Amaka, he said. On behalf of the people, thank you. He offered her a position, special advisor on urban renewal and housing justice. She refused. I don't want to be in government, she said. Then what do you want? I want a foundation. Something the people can trust. Something that doesn't need campaigns to work. Within days, her new initiative launched. The Benson Foundation, named after the friend she lost. Their mission? To rebuild the slums, not demolish them. But success breeds envy. Chike, the man who saved her life, felt left behind. He had filmed everything, leaked the videos, risked his life, and now he watched as Amaka was being celebrated alone. At a press event, he approached her. You've changed, he said. Amaka turned to him. I'm still me. No, you've become their version of you. The one who's acceptable, who doesn't ruffle feathers. Amaka tried to hold his hand. He pulled away. That night, a video leaked online. One that showed Amaka in an old office meeting, joking crudely about politicians. It caused an uproar. She knew who did it, but she didn't fight back. Sometimes, letting go is louder than revenge. 3 months later, Obinna sat in prison. He had been sentenced to 12 years, but with parole, he'd likely serve 6. He wrote letters from prison to slum children, offering mentorship, apologies, and small truths. One read, "Be rich in soul before you seek riches in Naira." I wish someone told me that earlier. Amaka's foundation rebuilt 5 communities in 1 year. She was never seen on billboards. No political run. No socialite life. But in Makoko, children now attended free school under her name. Chike moved to Ghana, chasing another documentary. They never spoke again. As for Lagos, it remained chaotic, beautiful, difficult, but now less hopeless because someone stood up and paid the price. Final message. The higher you rise without roots, the louder your fall will echo. Obinna fell, but he fell into something greater than wealth, truth. Amaka rose, not by grabbing power, but by giving it away. And the people, they finally learned that justice isn't a miracle. It's a fight, and some fights are worth everything.